The fairy race. We know how powerful nature is and how expansive and incredible it's to be able to create such wonders from imagination or by design certain aspects of its creativity or electromagnetic field. What we can perceive with our eyes is not all that is displayed. With such splendor the nature spirit has created a warmth and environment for us to inhabit. Like all beings that inhabit this multidimensional world, the nature consciousness have developed certain races to co-create these world we inhabit together on this earth akin to the astral and solid form. One such race is the fairy race. With slight alignment we are only sometimes lucky enough to see aspect of this realm, sometimes by accident, sometimes by imitations. Glimpses of these world have been told by humans all over the world. The names given to them are Osa. Main article, Osa. The Osa is the Irish term for a supernatural race in Irish, comparable to the fairies or elves. They are variously said to be ancestors, the spirits of nature, or goddesses and gods. A common theme found among the Celtic nations describes a race of people who had been driven out by invading humans. In old Celtic fairy lore, the Osa, people of the fairy mounds, are immortals living in the ancient barrows and cairns. Origins. Early modern fairies does not derive from a single origin. The term is a conflation of disparate elements from folk belief sources, influenced by literature and speculation. In folklore of Ireland, the mythic Sasquatch, or people of the fairy hills, have come to a modern meaning somewhat inclusive of fairies. The Scandinavian elves also served as an influence. Folklorists and mythologists have variously depicted fairies as the unworthy dead, the children of Eve, a kind of demon, a species independent of humans, an older race of humans, and fallen angels. 19. The folkloristic or mythological elements combine Celtic, Germanic and Greco-Roman elements. Folklorists have suggested that fairies arose from various earlier beliefs, which lost currency with the advent of Christianity. 20. These disparate explanations are not necessarily incompatible, as fairies may be traced to multiple sources. Fairies are generally described as human in appearance and having magical powers. Diminutive fairies of various kinds have been reported through centuries, ranging from quite tiny to the size of a human. 13. These small sizes could be magically assumed, rather than constant. 14. Some smaller fairies could expand their figures to imitate humans. 15. On Orkney, fairies were described as short in stature, dressed in dark gray, and sometimes seen in armor. 16. In some folklore, fairies have green eyes. Some depictions of fairies show them with footwear, others as barefoot. Wings, while common in Victorian and later artworks, are rare in folklore. Fairies flew by means of magic, sometimes perched on ragwort stems or the backs of birds. 17. Modern illustrations often include dragonfly or butterfly wings. Hidden people. Illustration of a fairy by C. E. Brock. There is an outdated theory that fairy folklore evolved from folk memories of a prehistoric race. Newcomers superseded a body of earlier human or humanoid peoples, and the memories of this defeated race developed into modern conceptions of fairies. Proponents find support in the tradition of cold iron as a charm against fairies. Prehistoric race of humanoid peoples. Support in the tradition of cold iron as a charm against fairies. 19th century archaeologists uncovered underground rooms in the Orkney Islands that resembled the elfland described in Childe, which lent additional support. In folklore, flint arrowheads from the Stone Age were attributed to the fairies as elf-shot, while their green clothing and underground homes spoke to a need for camouflage and covert shelter from hostile humans, their magic a necessary skill for combating those with superior weaponry. Fairies are akin to commune with the elemental cousins who are pure energy essences of nature pushing through the electromagnetic elasticity of the third dimension, wrapping itself in the energy of this dimensional of the third from a higher dimension, masking itself in the energy of third density to be able to be perceived and interacted with. Class gnomes and sylphs as elementals, meaning magical entities who personify a particular force of nature, and exert powers over these forces. Fairies are a race of people close to nature. You will find their burrows and into their world in hidden portals, sometimes in the forest or wilderness, sometimes just even in your garden. Their fair using stand about 1 to 3 inches tall, have slim body, appearance like a human but much smaller in stature, with fixed wings, sometimes butterfly wings, sometimes translucent wings. They are naturally adept in magic and know all the herbs and magic spells. They are quick temper and also very charming. One must never anger a fairy or break a promises to a fairy, as they have cast a spell that binds any agreement till it's settled. Any promises must be kept it in full, or there will be consequences for the poor human or fairy that breaks them. They are highly intelligent, playful, and very vengeful if you do them wrong or harm any one of them. They are also very giving and loving to people who shows respect and proper protocol to them. They have know to help heal and cure sickness for children and the old, and helped with changing the course of events in otherwise hopeless situation. Their magic usually use a lot of spells and charms, and most their magics for medicines are nature's herbs. They love cookies and milk left outside for them. And shiny objects. With the shiny objects, they like gems or glass or something reflective. They have high tendency to check themselves out in the polished surface of water or glass. They do not like metal materials such as iron or steel. It dulls their magic and makes it almost impossible for them to make magic around these dense material, but not impossible. Usually marbles around the window or outside attracts them. Their society are basis with hierarchy, with a king or queen at the top and rest follow down the structure. They have strict laws that governs them and tied by magic. Break these laws will outcast them to their world and to our world, sometimes banishment into a human form. Much folklore of fairies involves methods of protecting oneself from their wrath and malice when they are angered, by means such as cold iron, charms and talisman and various herbs, or simply shunning locations known to be theirs. Avoiding offending any fairies by never offending them in their opinion or action. Fairies are known to visit at the dead of night while the humans sleep and do pranks. These are akin to knocking things over or tangling the hair of sleepers into fairy locks, aka elf locks, stealing small items, and leading a traveler astray. Also causing lack of rest or in trees were considered sacred to fairies, and a charm tree to protect one's home. These legendary mythical creatures have been captured on tape and photo by Professor John Hyatt, who has been coming into contact with these bands and have taken a few photos. He has taken a series of photos of proof of their evidence of their existence. It was really risky. He knows how many people have lost jobs and livelihoods in claims like these outside of mainstream. But he says this discovery was too important to be kept by himself and have shared the truth with the rest of the world. You can see for yourself at the Rosendale Fairies at the Whitaker Museum if you are interested, he says. Backstory about John Hyatt. John is an artist, painter, digital artist, video artist, photographer, designer, musician, printmaker, author, landscape designer and sculptor. Since 2010, Hyatt has exhibited in Australia, Brazil, China, India, Ireland, Portugal, Japan, the UK and the USA. He has a long and varied career and involvement in cultural practices, pedagogy, industry, urban regeneration, and communities. A transdisciplinary theorist, he is a polymath with an interest in arts and sciences. Hyatt recently received global popular media attention for his digital photographs of Rosendale fairies. Music fans know John in many incarnations and collaborations, but primarily as singer, songwriter with legendary post-punk band, The Three Johns. As a professor at Manchester Metropolitan University, following 10 years as head of fine art, Hyatt originated and developed the Research Institute, Myriad, and as its director for 15 years he made it the UK's 5th highest rated arts research centre. In September 2016, John moved to become professor in contemporary art at LJMU's School of Art and Design. In October 2016, John became director of ART Labs, Artistic Research and Technologies Laboratories, at LJMU, a network of specialist research labs. In February to March 2017, a large innovative exhibition of his creative work, Rock ART, was on show at Home, Manchester. In May 2017, he became artist in residence at Sensor City, Liverpool. In November 2017, September 2021, he took up his new post looking after scholarship, research and knowledge transfer for the Faculty of Arts, Professional and Social Studies, covering art, design, architecture, fashion, humanities, creative writing, dance, drama, social science, education, law, policing, film and TV, etc. Between July 2019 and April 2022, John focused, as director, on founding and developing the Institute of Art Technology, IAT. As professor of contemporary art, John is research lead at Liverpool School of Art and Design. LJMU. He is a peer reviewer for European Research Council, ERC, of scientific proposals submitted to the ERC Consolidator Grant 2021 call part of ISI 2022, International Symposium for Electronic Art, Barcelona, international jury and external advisor to a range of international institutions. Specialties: whilst being an experienced artist, musician, manager and project leader, John is a polymath adept at spotting and realizing creative opportunities in many fields and has a multitude of skills, crossing boundaries and linking people being prime talents.